Welcome to Modern Sages. We wanted to continue on our foundational series with you, and today we're going to be talking about Blessingways.
Welcome to Modern Sages podcast.
I'm Jenn Gilbreth.
And I'm Candace Coons.
With over 25 years combined, we have delivered messages from beyond,
explored ancient healing wisdom, and integrated these profound teachings into our everyday life.
We are passionate about creating new ways of being human in the modern age. By integrating the wisdom of the past with the present and coming into remembrance of who we truly are.
Are you ready to change your relationship to life itself? If the answer is yes, your journey begins now.
This is such a beautiful ritual and ceremony that really helps empower those who are part of it. So we can't wait to just dive in with that. But before we do so, we want to talk about our herb of the week. And we wanted to talk today about activated charcoal.
Yeah, activated charcoal it absorbs toxins. That is its main role. It absorbs toxins and binds toxins to it. So it's really good to pair activated charcoal with different things that can help you release those things from your body. But it basically does four things. It cleanses the body of mold. It helps you detoxify different metals too, such as mercury and lead, which is amazing. Again, it removes poisons so it can be used in emergency situations.
Mm-hmm.
And it also whitens your teeth. So there's different things that you can use it for. I know they also use charcoal to help purify water because the toxins bind to that charcoal. And so that way the water that goes through is a pure water. So it is an amazing thing to use. And I don't think that people really think about it, very often.
Yeah, to me, I feel like that's an herb that everyone needs to have in their house. I mean, how many times does someone or a child or someone maybe doesn't think about it and they bring some kind of poison into their body? Activated charcoal has been known to help with poisons. It can be literally a life or death situation, and it can help bring that back into form. And supposedly they also talked about that now it's kind of a known thing, but before, when people would come in with poisons in the doctor's offices, they would use activated charcoal. If someone, was during overdose or need to get their stomach pumped or anything like that, like they use that to assist in that healing. And so, that's something that would be beneficial for everyone to have in the house, just in case something goes awry.
Yeah.
But also with just detoxing. And it is something to think about too, that if you are using this internally for detoxing or releasing, clearing your body, you do want to make sure you're drinking a lot of water with it.
Yes, at least 2 to 3 times more water.
Yes, it's to flush it out. And so you want to be drinking water for sure if you are participating or taking that into your body in any way.
Absolutely. And of course, we've seen like the different teeth whitening products that can be created with charcoal. And it looks so funny when you have it on your teeth. But if you do it at night and in the morning, that's the best time to do it. It's good to do it 2 times a day if you want to see results. And of course, you could always add a couple drops of peppermint essential oil to make it taste better. And that when you're using it, but it really does help whiten your teeth because it's going to help anything that's coming in from the pores of your teeth are going to be pulled out from that charcoal. It's going to bind to that charcoal, and then you're going to be washing that out or off of your teeth.
Yes. And this is not charcoal, the same charcoal that you get just from a campfire. It's different than that.
This is different. This activated charcoal.
So don't go ahead and just get your dirt and your
Don't be throwing in the blender and making your own powder. That would not be good.
There's something to think about.
Something to think about for sure.
Yes. So activated charcoal, definitely something that we would suggest everyone have in their house. It can be used in times of need. Absolutely. So
it reminds me of like when you were saying a go-to emergency thing to have, like cayenne. You were talking about how you should always have cayenne because cayenne can help with stop a heart attack. It can help dilate the arteries so you can stop the symptoms of the heart attack or be able to give yourself more time to get to the emergency room. It can also help us stop bleeding. And I know it sounds awful to think about putting cayenne powder on a wound but if you're bleeding profusely, it could save your life. So there's certain things that we should all just have, I think, in an emergency apothecary. And I think
Yeah.
charcoal is definitely one of those for sure.
I would agree. Yes,
Your emergency
absolutely.
kit. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So let's dive into Blessingway. Blessingways, there's so much
Mm.
goodness, so much magic. Candace, do you want to do a
Yes.
little brief overview about what a Blessingway is?
Yes, a Blessingway ceremony. These have been done for hundreds of years. A lot of people feel that they come from the Navajo nations, but actually, many Native American tribes did Blessingways in different ways, and different pagan traditions from Europe. They did their own kinds of Blessingways, but basically, it's ceremony to help bless the way for the individual who is moving on to a new phase of their life. It's there to celebrate these rites of passages that we go through in life. And this is what I love about Blessingways, because I feel like the art of celebrating these rites of passages have been kind of let go of over the centuries. I feel like this is a way to kind of bring back some of this ancient wisdom and sacred energy back into our lives. And it's such a beautiful way to integrate the sacred back into your life, to hold space for these people moving into these new phases. So there's different times, of course, as women, and oftentimes these were held for women, that we go through these phases. And one is when a girl received her moon time for the first time. The elders in the community or the women would come together and they would create a moon time Blessingway for this young girl who's moving into womanhood. And the women would come and give her advice about what it means to be a woman and the different challenges that she may experience, and give her a blessing as she moved forward in her life as a woman. And you don't see that anymore. You don't see us honoring when we get our cycles, our menstruation, and celebrating that with our elders. You don't see that tribe and that community come together. And that was done. Another Blessingway is when we shift from the maiden to a mother. When we are ready to give birth to a child, the women would come together and create a Blessingway ceremony to empower her with strength and wisdom. So when she went through the birthing process and transitioned from the maiden to the mother, she would feel the support of women and the empowerment of that Blessingway for her.
I wanted to, I know
about it. It's so
seriously
beautiful.
I wanted to read a little bit in this book. It's called Blessingways. It's a guide to mother-centered baby showers. We can put that in the show notes. But in this book, she talks about how a lot of times nowadays we do like baby gifts, like baby showers, where, you're getting gifts for the baby or how to help with the mom and the dad financially, like help get all those things going. And a Blessingway is a little bit different in that aspect. And so I just wanted to read this paragraph that I have highlighted because it's so beautiful. It says, the ceremony gives the mother a chance on a smaller scale to yield to her own inner power and the emotional power of having another woman fully supporting her, to go with the flow of energy created as an existence unfolds, to acknowledge that birth can be mysterious, challenging, unpredictable, magical, intuitive, and sacred, and to fill with all her being the sanctity of giving life and the support that she receives from those around her. And it really is this beautiful way of nurturing. A lot of times you'll see people who will maybe do henna on the belly or wash the expecting mother's feet with rose water. There's so many different ways that people do things and what they feel like they want to do or what they feel comfortable with. But it really is a way of honoring and saying, hey, look, I honor that divine feminine within you. And this rite of passage is such a gift. It's such a like a channel of this new life force energy. And we, as soul sisters, are here to support you and to bless you and to be with you. And I think it's beautiful that this can be done in different aspects of life as well, right? Candace talking about the moon time. You know, there's also times when there's baby births, or when maybe a woman becomes like loses her spouse, whether it's to death or maybe there's a separation or divorce. There's a lot of times where this is very appropriate to help them claim that inner wisdom. We remind them of their purpose, of why they're here. Maybe that's grieving with them and loving them and honoring and pampering them. You know, when a woman is also going into menopause or transitioning into this new phase of womanhood as well, it's such a beautiful way of honoring these beautiful steps in life. And of course, there are a lot of traditions that the males also participated in. But this one, the Blessingways that we're talking about right now, are definitely centered in more of that feminine support, but it doesn't mean that they don't have anything for the masculine energy as well.
And we are healing this right now within us. Not only are we all integrating more of that divine feminine within us, the masculine, the males and the females, or everyone, let's just say everyone is integrating these energies in their lives. It's important to create space where women are supporting women, because women's relationships with each other are shifting and they're healing. You know, we're coming out of that survival space, competitive energy. And I think this is why this is coming up and wanting to be reclaimed within our daily lives and in our societies and our cultures, because it's so healing and it's so empowering to feel that love and that support from your tribe of women. I did a Blessingway for my friend Megan. And what I did for that is that I had everybody bring a snack, and everything that they brought as food, I told them to have a feeling of a goddessy energy. So they brought things like chocolate covered strawberries and, figs and different things that reminded them of that feminine energy. And when they arrived, I had everybody smudge before they entered the sacred circle. And we came into that sacred space. We all meditated together. And the first part of the ceremony was us just talking about sharing some of our stories of motherhood and empowerment with each other, and things that certain people wanted to share with Megan. And then we had Megan talk about some of her fears around giving birth, to be able to give it a voice and to get it out. And we wrote it down on a paper, and we created a mini fire ceremony in the middle of the circle after she talked about it, to release those fears into the fire and to give it over to spirit, so that way spirit could come to support her and heal some of these fears. And then what we did is we all brought a bead, and something that actually 3 beads a person. And we went around the circle and we created a necklace of these beads imbued with the prayers and intentions of each woman. And each woman, when it came to her turn, would hold the bead and say, this bead symbolizes this for you. May you be blessed with this or that, or this or that, or may you feel empowered by this. And then they would blow those prayers into the bead, and they would pass it over to me. And then I would put it on a string. And we just went around and we created a necklace of beads that she could wear while she was in labor. And just to remind her, as she was in labor, of the power of the women in her tribe that are supporting her and blessing her and giving her this strength.
So beautiful.
And then what we did is we did a rose foot bath and a hair brushing ceremony. And so we had one woman who would work on her feet while the other woman brushed, and we all took turns. Some of the women did shoulder massages and hand massages and foot massages. and then we would brush her hair. And it all symbolized giving her strength and love and nurturing energy to nurture her before she brought in this new life into the world, so she could infuse herself with that nurturing energy. And she just cried, as we went through that experience, because she's like, I have never felt so loved. Because as we were brushing her hair and giving her massages and her foot massage and bath, we were just infusing it with all of this nurturing, mothering energy into her. So that way she would just could fill her cup.
It's so beautiful.
And filling that nurturing energy. And then after we did that, we placed a crown of flowers on her head. And then at the end of our ceremony, we got a long red string, and we tied the string around each person's wrist around the circle to remind her of our connection and our support for her. The fact that we support her as a tribe, and we believed in her. We believed in her power. We believed in her wisdom. We believed in everything that she carried within her as a wise woman and mother on this beautiful journey, and blessed her on the journey. And then we cut the string and tied these red strings around our wrist. And then when she went into labor, she sent out a text message to the whole group. And we all kept those wristbands, those red wristbands, until she went into labor. And then when she went into labor, we all lit a candle and took a picture of that and sent it over to her, again, with an additional blessing and prayer for her. And then after the baby was born, we all cut the red yarn bracelet off of our hands to symbolize our release. That was our Blessingway ceremony for her. And one of the things that we also took away is when we were doing the beads, we had a person write down what bead every person brought and the prayer or the blessing that came with that bead. And I gave her a beautiful box at the end of the evening to put all of the things inside of the box from her Blessingway, just little things that we did, what the beads meant, her beads, some flower petals. And she ended up putting her crown, parts of her crown in there, and all the different things that we had of that evening. Yeah. And so that way in the future, if she wants to show that to her child, she can say, I did this Blessingway ceremony, and these were the blessings and the prayers that I received from my tribe, and to bless me and to bless you on your journey here in this life. And it's just a wonderful, beautiful, sacred experience.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is so beautiful. Full body chills with that. I think that, when I completed my shamanic training with you too, me and the other students that were with me, we also did a Blessingway where we each during our retreat, we were told to find something that was drawing to us, that we felt like either we brought it and we were ready to release it, or something that we were really drawn to that we wanted to give to somebody else. And so, of course, as we got started, we smudged, we saged, we got all aligned and centered. And it was so beautiful because you prayed over us and blessed us on this path. And, we had the crown and all of that with us as well.
And your mesa.
Yes. And our mesa. And it was just so beautiful to be able to give that gift. And it was like, we put them all on this beautiful altar, and we had food and all of these things, but it was really beautiful because then we were to give that gift to somebody else. And we were to say, this is why I chose that gift. And also kind of give them a prayer and a blessing that you're giving to them, you're blessing them with. And it was amazing because all of us, how we gave them to the person that we did, and it just all worked out that it all aligned so beautifully and so perfect. And it was such a deep message on top of just feeling loved and supported. And there's nothing better than wearing a beautiful flower crown to just honor that divine beauty within, and so for us, that was like a rite of passage of like, okay, we've completed this initiation of these shamanic practices and teachings. And so it was like, oh, welcoming us into this new phase or this new lifetime of experience. And then you also gave us a necklace, which was the pie stone, which is also very beautiful and very symbolic. And so it was just very sacred and very, very beautiful. And we can't wait when we are going to be doing some retreats. We can't wait to also incorporate these beautiful blessing ways with those who come and attend these beautiful retreats. And so I don't know, I just love the honor and the divine space that Blessingways bring. It's just a way of helping us remember that we are so much more than what we're experiencing. We're taking ourselves out of the day-to-day rut to truly honor this human experience, to honor that life force, that sexual energy that's within all of us. Just really brings it all into balance. And it's just such a beautiful ceremony and ritual.
It is. And that's what I love so much about the beauty way, because it helps you incorporate the sacred into your life again. And I feel like as a mainstream society, we've thrown that away.
Yeah.
So much, so afraid that it's all, is it evil, or it's been shown that people telling us growing up that it's not the right thing to do, or crazy, or this and that. And the problem is that when we don't incorporate the sacred into our lives, it's easier to forget our true nature, to forget who we really are.
Yeah.
So again, these sacred experiences help us trigger that remembrance of our divinity and our power and our wisdom.
And even us being able during Blessingways to send a prayer or to pray over, it's like you're sending a blessing to that individual.
Yes.
And we've also been taught that, like, as women, we can't give blessings to people. Like there's this blockage of like, oh, that's kind of more of the masculine, it's the patriarchy. Like they're the ones who are going to be responsible for that, which yes, I see that there's a lot of good that can hold in that space too. But I remember in our Blessing Way, I almost felt a little awkward, like, and we're not like placing our hands on that person, but it's like, I wish you this and I bless you with this, and like sending your heartfelt love and compassion. And to me, it was almost like it felt a little uncomfortable, only because I wasn't used to being able to express myself and to fully honor someone in words like that. And so even if it was a little uncomfortable, it was so powerful. And it also brought back this divine space of, yeah, we're all spirit. We're all connected to the divine. We all are the divine. And we can all access that beautiful power of healing, of blessing, of praying upon somebody. And it doesn't have to be bad or wrong. And it's also a feminine trait. It's a feminine quality. And it's just as much in the masculine as it is in the feminine. I feel like it's good to bring that to awareness as well. Like, it's just part of life.
Jenn. I mean, just even as you're talking, you're like, gosh, I didn't feel, it was almost like, it's like I didn't feel worthy to be able to give this woman my blessing and my prayers. And that's what's so wonderful, because here you are, you're in a space where you're giving of this energy, and yet you are also receiving this awareness that you are worthy, that you are divine, and that everything that you need to connect with, your power, your wisdom, your love, is right here. And you're absolutely worthy to share that with others. It's such a beautiful reminder of that innate wisdom and power and love that we carry inside of us. And we were talking about how this is so wonderful because it's such a non-competitive space. It is a supporting, loving space. And, when we did the giveaway ceremony, when I had you go get an object that you felt drawn to and then give that over to the other women, and when you sit down, one of the first things that you tell them are the things that you recognize in them, the things that you recognize as their gifts. And this is so emotional for people, because at the heart of every human being, we want to be seen. We want to be truly seen. And so when you're giving this gift to them and you're saying, this is what I see in you, these are the gifts that I feel like you have brought to my life, or the things that I've seen you share with others, it's such an emotional experience. And then to finish that with a blessing and prayer to that, may you be blessed as you move forward on this path. It's so extremely powerful. And we don't get that many opportunities in life to truly create the sacred and to truly feel seen and heard and loved and valued and worthy.
Yeah.
It's just like, and a Blessingway creates these energies.
Yeah. Well,
it's a container that holds this space for women. It's just so incredibly empowering. And
it even reminds me of, I believe it was in season 1, but we talked about ceremony and the power of sacred ceremony. And in the previous podcast, we talked about creating sacred space, and we'll link those in the show notes below too, because those are also really great principles to understand of how ceremony can bless us and how it's part of this journey and how we're here to honor and experience. And we don't have a lot of those that happen in life, a lot of those big life-altering changes. And so why not celebrate?
Honor it, celebrate. Yeah, it's like give yourself permission to celebrate these milestones.
Yes, absolutely.
And it is different than, like we were saying earlier, it's different than a traditional baby shower when you do a Blessingway, because traditional baby showers are there to support women with the supplies that they need to have food, to play games, but it's very physical. It's physically oriented. And yes, you have your support system and you see your support system, and there's value to that for sure. This has a different energy because it's more focused on the inner, the support, the sacred, the empowerment, the support system around you. So I think they're both beautiful. I think we should do both. We should have baby showers and Blessingways for each baby. But
and a Blessingway is also something that you have it for your soul people, your soul tribe. It's, it's not, you might not feel comfortable having your cousins, like your great aunt that you don't know, right? Where they might come to a baby shower and that might be a different feeling. And so it's really being intentional with who you want to allow into that sacred space. Because it is very sacred and it's very spiritual and it's very, very powerful.
And there's no right or wrong way of doing it.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's some usually basic things like smudging,
creating sacred space,
connecting the group by creating sacred space, meditating, prayer. And then there's usually some form of nurturing energies and things that could be henna tattoos, foot baths, creating a piece of artwork. There's so many different things that you can do. And then giving her something that she can wear to remind her of her support system. It could be the necklace, it could be a bracelet, it could be whatever. So that's just something that's empowered with that energy. It's a talisman in a sense, which we talked about in our other podcast. And at the end, it's usually feasting. And one of the cool things I thought was so great, this is advice, and then we'll wrap the show up, but advice from another woman that did a Blessingway, is she had all the women bring a casserole or something they could freeze. So when they left that night, they stocked her freezer full of casseroles and lactation biscuits and desserts and all kinds of things. So she did not have to worry about that whole first couple of weeks as far as food. She had food to go to in her freezer.
That's
when the baby was born. I thought that was such a great idea.
Yeah, that is a good idea as well.
So I hope this gives you greater understanding of different ways that you can do Blessingways in your life and incorporate the sacred in your life. It's all about relationship, and this helps bring greater connection, beauty, and healing and empowerment to your life. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you for watching Modern Sages. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
We are so grateful for your support. If you want to follow us, we have an Instagram account as well as on Facebook. We have our podcast, which is the Modern Sages podcast as well.
And we are so excited to launch our Gifts of Spirit classes in our Modern Sages Mystery School.
Absolutely. Oh, we're so excited. So we're going to link the information below in the show notes for more information about our mystery school.